Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Backyard Farm to Table. I'm Kelvin and today is a Friday during the time of Lent. So my Catholic friends have asked me to put together something very quick and simple that doesn't involve meat. So in my growing up, I've always eaten whiting. And nowadays, I like to do all my fishing in the best part of the United States called the seafood aisle of the grocery store. Quick, easy, no fuss, no muss, and none of that awful smell of bait. But if you love fishing, you love it. Me, I don't. I just like to eat the catch. All right, so I take my fish and in keeping with Paleo, I don't use cornmeal or flour, so I use cassava flour, which is just ground up yuca or cassava, as you will. And then I add in the same things that I would had I been using cornmeal for a regular Southern fry. So I use season all. I've got my cassava flour and I put black pepper in it. And then I do a little egg wash, and that's to help the flour to stick onto the fish instead of just floating off into my grease. Okay, so let's go ahead and season the fish up. And again, as I always say, be generous because your taste buds will love you for it. Season both sides of the fish. Okay, so normally we would call this the three-step breading method, but excuse me, since I'm not using flour and then egg wash and then cornmeal, since I'm just using the cassava flour and the egg wash, I just have two pans. But what I do is I take the fish, roll it around, get it fully coated inside the cassava flour. I put it into the egg wash, and then back into the cassava flour. And that's my breading. Okay? Just because you're dieting doesn't mean you have to eat totally different from everybody else. Now, there is a professional method called wet hand, dry hand, where you keep from getting all the clumps of flour and everything all over your hand. And 20-something years of professional cooking, I've never fully mastered it. Not even going to try here for you folks back at home. But the idea is one hand just does the dry ingredients, the dipping into the dry ingredients, and the other hand does dripping into the wet ingredients. Because the sink is right here for me, I'm just going to go ahead and do my rinse. Easy peasy. Dry. He shoots and he misses. Thank goodness for that day job. All right, so now got my two pieces of fish done. I can get rid of this. And I use a fryer instead of just a frying pan. It helps to keep from having all the splatter and everything. I don't have to monitor the temperature. It does it for me. Inside here, I've got a mix of both avocado and coconut oil that I'm going to use for frying. Just set it for 350 and I don't have to worry about it again. Take my fish, set it in a handy dandy little basket. Drop it in the grease. Ooh, I love that sizzle. Set the timer for 5 minutes. That's all it takes. She's a delicate little old thing, that whiting fish. I can get rid of this. this out of the way. Got this makeshift countertop here so that you can actually see what I'm doing instead of back when I used to work in this little corner over here. And but it's just got a little tablecloth on it, and that doesn't wipe off so easy as a nice countertop. But let's see, can we do it? Can we do it? He shoots, he scores, yeah! But still keep that day job because ain't nobody about to pay me to do basketball. All right, so today's vegetable slash starch is going to be eggplant. Now I love eggplant, and this eggplant is a Japanese version called Ichiban, and I grow it each year back here in the backyard along with Black Beauty, which is the traditional eggplant that we're used to seeing in the grocery store. And I also use a white eggplant, which I'm going to use in my next video, where I'm going to stuff them with some ground beef, tomato sauce, mozzarella. It'll be like a baked Parmesan, eggplant Parmesan. All right, so I don't need all of this, but I just wanted to show it to you whole. I've already sliced one up, and then I'm gonna make my salad. So for the seasoning of this, I've got some ground mustard, some garlic, some ginger, and some country seasoning. And then I'm gonna put on some coconut aminos, and I'm gonna cook all of this up with sesame oil. Coconut aminos I use instead of soy sauce. Tastes very similar without the soy. Get this turned on here. Medium high heat. A little bit of sesame oil in there. Not much, doesn't need much. But it'll help to add to the flavor. Woo, that fish is coming up nicely. We wait for that to heat up a little bit. It's important to let a pan heat with its cooking medium in it, in this case the sesame oil, so that you don't have things just floundering in the pan. That's not to make for good eats at all, okay? So what we want is a nice, good, hot heat. And I could have used a wok, but it wasn't going to share the airtime with the fryer. And so the fryer won. I had to get a regular saute pan, but we deal with it. We move on. All right. Let's do my little test. Whoop. There's the sizzle. Whoop. There it is. Throw in my eggplant real quick. All my seasonings. And I don't need all of that country seasoning I put inside there. But I do want all the rest. Now, I like for my vegetables to have a little bit of crunch to it, or as they say in pasta, al dente. So I don't wait for it to get totally mushy. I just want it to cook up inside there, get a little bit of soft. The skin on the Ichiban is very soft and tender, especially if you pick it at the right time. And so there's no waste, to maintain all the vitamins that were inside that skin along with the rest of the eggplant. All right, we got about one more left on minute on this fish, and y'all know what I did. you ain't even gonna hear a buzzer because instead of setting this timer for 5 minutes, I put 5:00, which is 5 hours. No. So I'm glad I caught the mistake because we would have had burnt fish. All right, and our fish is done. Quick, easy, no splattering of oil anywhere. Yes, I got the heat, but if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. And since it's my job to cook, I can take it. All right, turn that down to low. Let it finish cooking up there without burning. And I'm gonna make a little salad to go with the meal in order to balance all of everything out. Okay, so we're all done with this. Set that aside. Finish that explanation, set that aside. All right, so on the farm, I've got spinach, which I'm gonna put right there. And this cucumber isn't from the farm, or at least not my farm, but it's a mini cucumber. I love it. There's no waste. I just simply cut up one, and that's a salad's worth for me. And the pieces are so small, it's so good. And I don't know if you can see, but it's where the seeds are. This one has like that little Y. Reminds me of the old New York City subway tokens when I was a kid. And of course now I'm dating myself, so I'm gonna let go of that story and move on. All right, got cucumbers. Some red bell pepper, which is off my farm. So as you can see, having your own garden, whether it just be a patio garden, backyard garden, or a full-scale production farm going, is very beneficial because you decide what you want to eat and you just go and pick it up. Easy peasy. When they're small like this, I just tend to go ahead and cut up and use the whole thing. Seeds, veins, everything doesn't really make a difference. Put these in the compost. Some tomato. This also off my farm and part of this morning's harvest that I do each morning. I'm at that point now with my tomatoes where each and every day I'm pulling tomatoes. Just add on there like that. This one I'll put aside into the refrigerator and we'll have that with breakfast. And then lastly, in hopes that I don't have to change my contact lens prescription again next year, I've been eating carrots with each and every meal that I have. Still haven't successfully grown carrots here on the farm, but I'm going to try it and hopefully it'll work out just fine. You'll know because there'll be some videos about it. Okay, so eggplant is done. Look at that. That's nice. Let's go ahead and put the eggplant on the plate. Because as you know, in paleo, we get our carbs primarily from the vegetables and fruits that we eat throughout the day. And lastly, we can turn this fryer off. And the neat little thing about this little fryer here that cost me, I think, somewhere between $20 and $30 is when this oil cools off a bit, it's got a little knob here that I can just turn to filter. It will then filter out any particles. All of that will fall down into this reservoir right here and wait for me to fry some more fish the next time. Use one for fish, one for frying chicken. All right, and look at that fish. Woo, baby. Just as golden brown as if I had used wheat flour. So, for those of you who are also gluten-free, you too can use this same method for, excuse me, cooking your fish or chicken, whatever it may be that you're about to fry, because while everything paleo is gluten-free, not everything gluten-free is paleo. So don't use the gluten-free flour mix if you're on the paleo diet, because typically they use white potato starch and they use rice flour in there a lot of times, and that's not paleo. Okay? There she is. I like to use Skinny Girl salad dressings instead of taking the time to make my own. It's laziness, but ain't nobody got time to be making salad dressing, especially since there are other people, who make some very good salad dressings. This one here is balsamic vinaigrette. It is both fat-free and sugar-free and tastes fantastic. Because most of the time when you get fat-free and sugar-free, it means taste-free, but not with Skinny Girl. They got it going on. Just a little bit. Fat-free, sugar-free, it still got calories. Okay, lastly, for my fish, I need some malt vinegar. And no fried fish meal is complete without my hot sauce. In my case, I use Tabasco. By the big bottle. And there you have it. Quick and easy, didn't take long, and I'm gonna really enjoy this. So, for all of you out there during your time of Lent, please enjoy, eat well, commune, and until the next time I see you, have a good one, enjoy, love yourself and everyone around you. Bye-bye.